Rachel Maddow, Richard Engle, Fareed Zakaria, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, BBC, Fox News. Listen and learn. My name is Alexander Hagan. I'm the CEO of a small, medium-sized tech company in Silicon Valley. Previously, I was a financial analyst and financial journalist. I've also been a research engineer in telecommunications and have filed several patents. In Libya, the US and NATO obtained a resolution after an uprising on February 17th to protect civilians. They took this to mean to remove Gaddafi from power by any means necessary. If the people of Libya embraced NATO-sponsored freedom, all would go well. If the people of Libya resisted their crash course in Western democracy, they would be viewed as part of the problem. The first Libyans to find out they were part of the problem, that is, to be killed, were the servicemen and women in their armed forces. It began with their complete annihilation by a military force, NATO, 500 times larger than their own. In one night alone, the entire Libyan Navy was sank while it lay in harbor in Tripoli. The second part of the population to discover that civilian protection by NATO did not apply to them were the supporters of Gaddafi. Gaddafi's Libya was the most advanced country in Africa. Now, I know that anyone listening to this has not heard this, and I document it in the comments with footnotes. This is based on empirical, indisputable facts based on sources like the United Nations Human Development Index Fund, the CIA World Fact Book, credible professors of political science that do not support Gaddafi, etc. Gaddafi's Libya was the most advanced country in Africa. It had 40 tons of gold, no debt, and $130 billion in cash reserves, the largest oil reserves in Africa, and it built an irrigation system tapping the Nubian Basin aquifer, absolutely pure Ice Age water of extreme interest to French water companies, 400 years worth of it for Libya, 4,000 feet under the sands of the Sahara, possibly more valuable than the gold itself. Gaddafi's Libya had a very small prison population, about 1/4 of the US's incarceration rate, a very decent educational and medical system, the best in Africa, and it scored similarly to Chile and Argentina in the United Nations Human Development Index. Why will not one single American journalist mention this? Why don't they know this? Have they all been picked and selected to be cheerleaders for an imperialist war machine that destabilizes country after country? I am so ashamed of you, Rachel Maddow and Richard Engle. Libya's crime was that it was basically self-sufficient and very rich. Gaddafi even agreed to take an IMF loan in late 2010 with absolutely no need to do so. What does that tell you about politics in the world today? Libya's crime, bread and gasoline were around 10 cents a loaf and a gallon. It was a tightly controlled society. 1,200 people were killed in the prison uprising. However, some of the groups that Gaddafi supported were people like the African National Congress of Nelson Mandela, who we treated as terrorists. The people of Nicaragua, who overthrew a terrible dictator in Somoza. He supported independence movements of all types. Many that were objectionable to us, but perhaps not objectionable to others, and some that were truly mistakes to support. And yes, there were violent actions taken in the 1980s, regrettable actions, but every country, show me an Arab state that gave more to its people than Gaddafi's Libya. And what about the U.S. record itself? Vietnam, 3 million dead. Iraq, 1 million dead. Who knows how many in Afghanistan? And 25% of the world's prisoners. Now, at the fall of Tripoli, let us see who supported the Transitional National Council and who supported Gaddafi. Who makes up the opposition in Libya, that is the Transitional National Council? There are 4 groups: liberal reformists, essentially what would be an opposition party in a 2-party system. In Libya, this is a small group of educated people, at most 5% of the population. The Islamists, people who have traditionally not been allies with the West, from the more backwards east of Libya near the Egyptian border. The west side of Libya is more cosmopolitan and Tripolitania. And the Tripolitanians do not like being lorded over by jihadists from basically the backwaters. The Berber, an indigenous culture that had been repressed by all governments in North Africa, supported the overthrow of Gaddafi. As at one time, the Arabs of North Africa legitimately saw the Berber as a group the West would use to manipulate, to destroy their countries. Interesting. And the tribes at the short end of the stick in the intertribal politics of Libya, of course, supported the overthrow of Gaddafi. All in all, perhaps at most 1/4 to 1/3 of the population. Who supported Gaddafi? Women. Richard Engle himself said it would be more Islamist society. Women had full equal rights in Libya. Why is there no mention of that? Women and blacks. Blacks were lynched massively in Libya due to false rumors, probably spread by the American intelligence agencies, that Libya was full of mercenaries, which is simply never proven. And the Human Rights and Doctors Without Borders, Amnesty International concluded there was no evidence to support this, yet many blacks were lynched. So blacks fear and distrust the new movement. The two largest tribes in Libya support Gaddafi and do not support the TNC. The Warfala of Beni Walid, which are 900,000 out of Libya's 5 to 6 million native population. The Tarhouna, who were allowed to be pro-Gaddafi or pro-TNC in the peace negotiations after the fall of Tripoli, creating the only peaceful town in post-NATO Libya. That is the only town that didn't persecute people for being sympathetic to the old government. Beni Walid, on the other hand, which is a power base of the Warfala, when they negotiated with the TNC, they were not allowed to have freedom of expression. If you showed sympathy for the old government and the TNC were able to take over Beni Walid, you would be arrested or killed. In Tripoli, a demonstration, one of the pro-Gaddafi neighborhoods, which was covered last Friday, had live rounds fired into it by the TNC. It was broken up, and then the TNC's militia opened up with heavy weaponry, such as anti-aircraft guns, on the apartment buildings of the Gaddafi supporters in neighborhoods like, I believe, Abu Salim. Clearly, in Tripoli, being seen as a Gaddafi supporter was about as safe as being a Jew in Germany on Kristallnacht. Most people were put in prison for being suspected of supporting Gaddafi. There are now more people in prison in Libya being tortured, according to groups like Amnesty International, than the entire prison population of Libya, including common criminals, prior to the occupation of Tripoli by the TNC. More than 10,000. Under Gaddafi, Libya had about 9,000 prisoners in total, about a quarter of the U.S. incarceration rate. Remember also that Gaddafi was seen as the founder of modern independent Libya. Loved or hated, he rid Libya of its colonial status and made it a fully independent state. He was the most preeminent of Libya's founding fathers. And in Sirte, Gaddafi's birthplace, home of the Al-Gaddafi tribe, simply living there meant you would be killed, primarily by NATO. It is a matter of indisputable fact that NATO bombed populated apartment buildings, hospitals, and essentially destroyed the city because it supported Gaddafi. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and their media lapdogs will protect civilians in Libya who like their brand of democracy. That is a minority of Libyans. And if you don't like Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and their media lapdogs brand of democracy, brought to you by Islamic extremists such as former Al-Qaeda associate Belhaj, who's a military commander of Tripoli today, who killed Americans in Iraq, or if you're afraid of them and you want your old repressive but quiet and prosperous Gaddafi land back, and you get in the way, then Hillary and Barack will kill you. This sounds ridiculous. It's hard to believe, but it's true. And in the comment section in this video, I show the massive bombardment of civilian infrastructure by the very people who had sworn to protect these civilians. Now, why is this important to you? The U.S. is deeply in debt. Its economy, its political, and its legal system no longer serve the majority of its citizens. It serves Rachel Maddow and Richard Engle and Fareed Zakaria just fine, though. We rank near to dead last in high school age education scores in PISA, and American standards of living have declined since the 1970s, even though we've had miraculous gains in productivity due to computerization. The one thing the U.S. does have is a state-of-the-art military and secret police. And the Frontline article, video cast, they call it the secret government because they don't want to use the word secret police. But in fact, it's a secret police, 1 million strong, designed largely to spy on us. If Libya is seen as a victory, we advance one step closer to a totalitarian state like Nazi Germany. The federal government already has near absolute power with the Patriot Act, whose very definition is top secret. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Obama, who seemed benign when he was elected, became a military and security hawk once he had been initiated into whatever dark rites they initiate one into when one joins the center of the halls of power. Imagine someone truly unscrupulous obtaining the presidency. I would be in Guantanamo merely for having broadcast this piece. We cannot reward the destabilization of countries to justify the existence of a national security behemoth that consumes nearly $1 in $6 our economy produces. Americans, awake. Before it is too late. What is left of your liberty is at great risk, and rewarding our leaders with laurels for illegal invasion and assassination could be the act that seals our fate. Remember our forefathers of the Revolution and the Civil War and the Second World War, who did not seek out empire or blood, but simply defended liberty. My name is Alexander Hagen. Good night and good luck.